Hi, Robin with Oxy-Dry. And I'm doing a move-out job today. It's quite a big job, actually. And there's 3 levels to this house. And I'm in the basement. Just vacuumed everything. Took me about an hour. Vacuumed everything. So it's pretty big. I think it's 1,300 square feet plus quite a few steps. So here's the steps out of the basement. This carpet's about a year old. Showing a little bit of wear on the steps, but otherwise it's in really good shape. And then we have this area over here. Here's what I picked up with the vacuum. It's about a third full, I guess. They had actually vacuumed it already, but as usual, when I vacuum, I pick up quite a bit more. This carpet is probably about 25 years or more old. Sculpture, as you can see, quite faded actually, and a fair amount of wear in the traffic areas. These were really popular in the 80s and the 90s, but don't run into it that much anymore. Good wearing carpet, actually. 3 steps up from the front door, and then this area. You can see quite a bit of pile distortion and crushing of the iron has gone on over the years on these steps. And pile reversal, pooling and shading in certain areas. And then we have different color carpet in the bedrooms. Same style, but different color. I guess that was a more popular thing to do way back. Nowadays, everybody wants the same color everywhere. I guess that light doesn't, there's no light in here. I'm really not sure what that is. Kind of weird, actually. Let's see if we can do this here. Probably not. I need a coat hanger, actually. Maybe I'll find one. Anyway, we'll deal with that in a bit. And master bedroom over here. And I guess no coat hangers. Okay, we can still deal with that. So I'll just, I thought I'd just record this top floor. And we'll see how it goes. I'm using the Fibre Plus pad from Bonnets, the Hog's Hair one, which is working exceedingly well. I'm very impressed with this. I don't really have to use a fiber pad on this carpet, but some of the areas, like over in that area there, it is fairly dingy, so it'll benefit from that. And away we go. Now using the fiber pad on these high traffic areas will help to just lift that pile up a little bit more effectively. So we'll just do a quick perimeter. The doorway into the bathroom here has got quite a bit of tile wear. You can see it's really bloomed a lot from 20 plus years of walking on it. But it'll clean up nicely. These carpets actually always do clean nice. This is a nylon, of course. And certainly better than a polyester. These new polyester carpets, they're once again pushing on everybody. If you get 5 decent years out of them, you've done well. Whereas, I mean, look at this, 25 or more years old, and it still actually doesn't look bad at all. This is what a polyester looks like in a couple of years. So anyway, might as well go in the closet while I'm here. There's a couple of marks right in the middle there. Little black marks, and they're gone now. They came out like immediately. I did give them a little zap with a spot remover as I was pre-vacuuming, which is what I normally do. And then by the time I get there with the machine, it's set for a little while, and stain will usually come right out. I'm actually using a different spot remover than I had been using, because I had been using LOC, which is an Amway product, an organic based product, and it was working really well, but I've had an issue getting it. I ordered it, and it's been more than 2 months and still hasn't arrived, so that's enough of that. I actually switched over to another product which I had actually originally bought it because it has an anti-allergen in it, and I was working with that for a little bit and offering an anti-allergen treatment. That was prior to when I started really getting into the CLO2, which does that as well, only more effectively even. Anyway, long story short, this product, which is made by a company called Allersearch, and it's called All Rug, is a good cleaner in its own right, very concentrated, and I've been using it as my spot remover. I put 1 ounce in that trigger sprayer, and I'm very impressed at how well it works. So, and it's very economical at that kind of a concentration too. So I'm going to order more because I'm liking it a lot. And it has something in it called Acryl, which is an anti-allergen. It has a slight odor to it, which almost a disinfectant smell. Not unpleasant or anything, just I actually cleaned my own carpet with it once just to try it out, and it has a little bit of an odor to it, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm would be hesitant to use it as a main cleaner, because my thought regarding carpet cleaning is to keep the odors as much as possible out of the picture. More and more people are sensitive and concerned about odors, so I try to keep away from anything that has an odor to it. Other than that, it does seem to clean really well. And I'm only using it as a spotter, or just hitting spots and sometimes traffic areas and that kind of thing. So it is very minimal odor present using it that way. So anyway, that's a really good product. I'm not into using things like ammonia for various reasons, including the fact that it's not actually well, it's got a smell to it, obviously, but just look up ammonia and why you shouldn't use it. There's lots of reasons, but I've addressed that before, so I won't go into it again. To each his own. Apparently you get in trouble if you suggest things like that aren't a good idea. But anyway, So, into this room, and do a quick perimeter. So actually this carpet's in remarkably good condition, really, considering how old it is. It really doesn't appear to have much in the way of real actual soiling. Just a few areas showing a little bit of that, but obviously the people that lived here were very careful in how they took care of their home, and that's really shows. Well, there was like a dark line there which I pre-treated. Do a little extra scrubbing on there. It's not uncommon to see that kind of a filtration effect that goes on over as the years go by. Now, hang on a sec. I found this in the corner. Having the light on the machine helps to see in those dark corners. Alrighty. It's, of course, cleaning up pretty well. There is quite a lot of fading in all of these areas. You can see where the bed was in the middle. It's got a lot more of the color, which is normal. You can see a bit of a wear path right around where the bed was sitting. This is obviously not a main bedroom, but still, as the decades go by, you know, it just... Carpet will wear. If you walk on it, it's a textile. Something's got to give, right? Considering what we put carpets through, they're actually amazing how well they stand up at all, anyway. Alright. Just do a little bit of an extra scrub-a-dub right around the perimeter here. You can actually see the path, and where the edge of the bed was is just like a straight line there. On one side it looks pristine, because it is, and right on the other side is a fair amount of wear. Somebody spent some time in this bedroom. I found very few spots on this carpet when I was pre-vacuuming. Actually, used very little spotter. The most obvious stain was a yellow stain that had dining room on the main floor there, which I put some proxy on, and it's faded away already, actually. So anyway, here we go. Perimeter. Now, somebody mentioned something interesting on one of the, in a comment about cleaning using shower feed. And they said something which I thought was actually almost comical, actually. And they said that if you shower feed, you're going to wash the soil or the water right through, or the solution right through the pad and drive soil into the backing of the carpet. and it was just not going to work at all. Well, I've been doing this method now for 25 years, and that is absolutely not what happens. All you're actually, I suppose you could if you just pulled the trigger and held it on and just flooded the carpet. Yes, you would, obviously, but that's not how you do this. You just apply a little bit at a time. Just keep the fiber pad or the bonnet pad, whatever you're using at the time, just keeping it damp. That's all you're doing. And if you were using a machine which was a standard shower feed, which drops the solution down onto the top of the dry block around the perimeter of it on the outside, well, nothing's going to land on the middle. So the top of the fiber of the bonnet will stay dry all the time. It'll just drop. As long as you're not over-wetting it, you'll have no problem. But it does take a little bit of skill and understanding of what you're doing to operate like any machine in any method. But my machine actually does center feed, so it'll drop right down into the center, and the center of the pad gets damp, wet, but it goes right through the center, and the top again remains dry when I'm running with a bonnet, like an Iron Man, for example. And no problem. It works really well. Very reliable. I don't have a pump to work with, and I actually tried a few years ago. I set up one of my rotaries. Actually, I did it to my 2-speed rotary, but I sold to my friend Roger, and I had set that machine up with a pump and a spray system because I wanted to see, would I like it? Would it be better? And I tried it out for a little while, and I really didn't like it. It just too, it just didn't work right compared to the simplicity and the control of just using the shower feed. The spray. The problem is that the spray. I mean, think about it. What direction is that spray gonna go? Are you gonna use a fan that goes that way, or a fan that goes that way, or a cone? Because if I had a spray on this machine, and I'm going left and I'm going right, just say if I had it on, I pulled the trigger. Right now, as I'm going to the left, it would spray in front of the machine, and then go back and spray in front of the machine. Now, that's fine. But here's part of the problem is you're going to get some misting, and as you get up close to the wall, you're going to spray that wall. It's just going to be a little tricky, a little awkward. If you go the other way with your fan, with the fan spraying out that way, well, then you'd only be able to spray when you go forward, because if you go left to right, you're just going to put a line across the carpet. Anyway, and then there's the having a little button somewhere right near here on your handle, right? Somewhere up here, which it all could be done. I mean, I did it. I had a switch mount. It wasn't this particular type of machine. It was a little bit different. But I had a switch mounted in the handle, and it worked. And I actually, one job in particular I did was a big commercial job, which I do on a regular basis. And I thought, okay, this will be a good experiment, because I'd done the job many times. It was a condo. And so I tried the spray system. And I had the pump mounted on the back of the tank, and I mounted like a stem. I can't remember exactly how I did it, but it was actually an articulating I don't know, call it a stem or whatever. Anyway, it would articulate and move all over the place. So I could direct the spray exactly where I wanted, and it applied it fine. But I found it just really tricky to get. I just found it awkward. I did the whole job anyway, and by the time I got to the end of the job, I knew that I didn't like this at all. That if I had just cleaned that whole job with that machine, just with a tank and a shower feed, no pump at all, it would have been much more. It would have been much easier to do. Not drastically easier, but definitely easier. So I tried it out for a little bit, and it's even more awkward using the spray in a house because there's too many things that you might accidentally spray when you're spraying. Even when I was using my Orbot in the house, I was finding the same thing. Because you get a bit of a mist or a fogging effect that happens with these spray tips, and you come near a piece of furniture or whatever, and you pull the trigger, and you end up getting a little bit of overspray onto things, and that's really not a good idea. Now, of course, if you're using a shower feed, you will get some slinging effect, which you will notice, particularly when you get to a doorway. You'll see it sort of slings out onto the floor. And this machine is actually much less likely to do that, or does it less anyway, because it has a center feed. But even when I was using a normal shower feed machine, I had a very simple way of dealing with that. I'd come along to the doorway or whatever, and I'd give it a clean and maybe apply my solution. Pull the trigger, and this trigger that is, and apply the solution, and then of course I'd get some slinging and get some a bit of spray of water just in the doorway there. So I'd stop, and I had a rag sitting here. I'd just give it a quick wipe with a dry towel. Done. So that's actually the only negative aspect of any normal shower feed machine, which is one of the reasons why I prefer this machine, because it does that considerably less. So see if I can get to that corner there. There we go. A little bit awkward, but doable. Behind the door. Done. Okay. Anyway, so the point was that for those who would say you can't shower feed and do this properly, I say, well, then clearly you haven't really explored doing it this way, because I've been doing it now for 25 years with no problem at all. So, and the nice thing about just using having a tank on your machine and just shower feeding like I'm doing is there is no pump to worry about. It's one less thing to go wrong. because eventually you'll have to replace or repair the pump. There's no pump plumbing to deal with. There's no switch to eventually wear out and need to be replaced. It's just a simple valve, and then gravity takes over. And it also means a little bit less weight. Not that a pump is very heavy, but you know, it all adds up. So my point is, this is nice and simple, reliable, consistent, predictable, and you can do this all day long. And it works fine. That black mark is mostly gone. Usually you get that level of filtration staining for that many years, and you're not going to get it all out, but it actually looks not bad at all. Okay, we'll go to the last room. So you can move really fast. Once I've gone over with a fibre pad, soil just comes out really quickly. This is just kind of the mopping up, as it were. The real cleaning happens with that fibre pad. That's where the majority, by far, of the soil is emulsified, lifted into suspension, and then just running over with the cotton Iron Man after it just blots up that soil that's been dissolved and just sitting there ready to let go because it's not hanging on anymore. So it goes really fast. So it took me 30 minutes to clean this entire upstairs. This is a almost $1,000 job, actually. And I'll be done here by probably 11:30ish, I think. It took me 1 hour, almost 1 hour to vacuum. And when I post vacuum, that will take less time. Not much less, but a little bit less. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm done the upstairs. So I'm going to turn off the recording and continue doing my thing. And I got this job and one more today to do. So anyway, thanks for watching.